Hello everyone and welcome to the ICT video lesson series. Today we are going to discuss on the advanced level chapter number 6, that is data communication and networking. In this we will be talking about IP addresses. So why do we need an IP address in the first place? Let's look at this map. In this you can see there are so many roads and the bypass lanes for each of these roads are available. Let's say there are a few houses built in the road map as the diagram shows, and maybe a shop or a factory. Now in this city, if I need to identify one of these houses, I need an address to uniquely identify this house. If I consider this whole city as the internet, each of these houses will be considered as a device which is connected to the internet. So if I want to identify or send and receive messages between these houses, of course I need to know the address. I need to uniquely identify where these houses are. So to identify this, if I identify them with these street names, it will not be very specific if I take it from these street names, because in each street I have more than one houses. I can see in this I have only one house, so if I say the house in the 9th street, of course it should be this house. But if I say the house in Christopher Street, there are 3 houses, so we will not know which house it is. So for each of these houses, to identify them, I am going to use a number. So if I say Christopher Street, house number 56, then I can uniquely identify this house. Let's say a person in W9th Street wants to send a message to someone here in the Christopher Street. The sender's address will be number 20 Avenue of the Americas, W9th Street would be the address of the sender. Now this sender is going to send this mail to the Christopher Street. So the receiver would be 57 Avenue of the Americas, Greenwich Avenue, Christopher Street. So from here, this lane, from this there was a sublane called Christopher Street and 57. So whenever a data is sent from one place to another, one device to another in the internet, if you have the correct address of the receiver and the sender, the internet will identify them properly and send it to the correct person. If not, if you do not have an IP address, sending and receiving accurately will not be possible. So this is why we need IP addresses in the internet when you are using the internet. IP addresses are used to identify devices in the internet. Earlier, we used to have IP version 4, that is IPv4 was used to identify these devices in the internet. But now we use something called IP version 6. That is because when I used IP version 4, we had about 4 billion IP version 4 addresses. We will look at that in the later part of this chapter. There were more than 4 billion addresses. When people were using the internet, this 4 billion addresses was enough to supply to different users of the internet, because those days only computers were able to connect to the internet and very few people used computers. So they thought IP version 4 would be enough, or 4 billion addresses would be enough to suffice this need for connection to the internet. But later, now what happened is almost all the electronic devices now use IP addresses, or they use the internet. So when they use the internet, of course they need an IP address. Refrigerators, smartwatches, smart TVs, even speakers use internet now. So to all these devices I have to give an IP address. So an IP address should be provided to all of these, means 4 billion will not be enough. This IP version 4 used a 32-bit address, whereas IP version 6 is going to use a 128-bit address. So we will be focusing on the IP version 4 in this unit. So in IP version 4, let's consider a network like this, which has around 8 devices connected to one network here. This we have laptops, tablets, desktop PCs, BlackBerry, smartphones and printers, and all those are connected to this network. Alright. Now in this network, if I want to uniquely identify each of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an address to all of them. Now let's consider using a 3-bit addressing mode. Instead of using a 32-bit addressing mode like in IP version 4, for example, I'm going to use a 3-bit addressing mode to demonstrate how I'm going to give addresses to each of these devices. The method of calculating the number of addresses that you can give them is 2 to the power number of bits used for addressing. So here I am using a 3-bit addressing mode. So 2 to the power 3 would give me how many addresses I can give to each of the device here. So I can give a maximum of 8 addresses. So to each of these devices I am going to give the address. So starting with 000, 001, 010, 011, 100, 101, 110, and 111. You can definitely remember that these are binary numbers representing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 0 to 7 I have up to 8 devices. So to suffice all the capacity needed to communicate with this in this network between these devices, I'm going to give them each an address using a 3-bit addressing mode. But we know in IP version 4 we are using a 32-bit addressing mode, which will be giving me more than 4 billion addresses like we talked about earlier. In IP version 6 we are going to use 2 to the power 128, which is going to be a very large value. Now in IP version 4 I can write the IP address. We know that we are going to use 32 bits. So I can write this IP address like this. I have 32 bits from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 into 4, 32, that is each 8-bit or 1 byte, or we call this an octet of byte. This octet is separated by a dot. There will be 4 octets which will add up to 32 bits. So each of these bits can be represented in this way in IP addressing. IP version 4 addressing, an IP address can be represented using the bit notation or the binary notation in this way. If I get the decimal values of all of these, that is the decimal value of this, and this, that is converting a binary number to decimal, I'll be getting 192 for this, 168, 1 here and 1 here. And if I write them using a dot separated values, that is 192.168.1.1. This is called the dotted decimal notation. This is also an IP address. This is also an IP address. We call this the binary notation, and we call this the dotted decimal notation. Okay. Next we have to see about network ID. what is a network ID? Each IP address is going to have two parts, that is a network ID and a host ID. First we'll see what a network ID is. A network is formed by connecting two or more devices in order to transfer data. Of course, a computer network is a connection between two or more devices which needs to transfer data among these devices. So a network is formed whenever two devices are connected to each other. Each of this network has a set of devices connected to it. So one network, let us say I have more than one network. Each network would have a set of devices connected to it. A network ID is used to identify a network which has a number of devices, or hosts we call it, connected in it. So whenever I wanted to send data to a device, I would first look for the network ID, and then I can find the host from that network ID. So any host is going to belong to some network. First, if I find the network, then of course I can find the host easily. So the network ID is going to tell me in what network the particular host that I want to connect to is residing in. Next is the host ID. We know that each network has a number of hosts connected to it. Every network has a number of hosts connected to the network. We have to be able to identify each of these hosts uniquely in order to transfer data accurately. So if you know exactly where your host is, if you can identify where your host is using the host ID, then you can deliver to that person, like the mail was delivered to number 57 in the map we saw earlier. We can deliver to the exact person without any problem if you know the network ID and the host ID. Host ID is the ID that is given to each device which is connected to the network. The ID given to each host is called the host ID. Now let's look at this diagram again. In this, we can identify 1, 2, 3, 4 different networks. These two are single houses, so I'm not taking them. Maybe if there are more houses, we can call it a network. So here, if this whole map represents the internet, these are different networks found in the internet. So if I want to connect one of these houses, or we may call it devices or computers in this network, then I need to find what the network ID is. So here we can call these street names as the network ID and the numbers as the host ID. So W Washington Place will be the network ID for this network. 39, 40, 42 and 43 would be the host ID for this network. And here the same way, Christopher Street will be the network ID. 57, 56 and 55 would be the host IDs. Now, can two networks have the same host ID? Now look at these two networks. You can see 21 and 22 host IDs are found in both of these networks. If the network ID is different, then the internet can uniquely identify them. So there will not be any problem to identify these houses, even though they are having the same host ID. If the network ID, if they are belonging to different networks, then of course the internet will be able to locate each of these hosts uniquely. So having the same host ID will not be a problem if they belong to different networks. Then we have to focus on something called a subnet mask. We know that an IP address is divided into two parts. What are the two parts? Network ID and host ID. A subnet mask is going to tell you how many bits are allocated for the network ID and how many bits are allocated for the host ID. So it is going to tell you, out of those 32 bits, how many bits I am going to use for the network ID and how many bits I am going to use for the host ID. So depending on the number of bits, the size of the network ID or the size of the host ID will change. So we will look at them in the later chapters. Usually a subnet mask will have a series of 1s followed by a series of 0s. Now normal IP addresses, we have a mixture of 1s and 0s. But in subnet mask, it's easy to identify a subnet mask because it always starts with 1s. And after all the 1s are complete, then a series of 0s will be following that. That means a subnet mask will always have 1s followed by 0s. There won't be any 1s or 0s in between 1s or in between 0s. 1s will be separate and 0s will be separate. So these 1s are going to represent the network ID. 0s will represent the host ID. When using the calculation part in IP, when you are doing some calculations in IP addressing, for IP version 4, we use 4 different formulas which should be remembered throughout this chapter. The first one is number of networks. How do you find the number of networks? That is 2 to the power the number of network bits. So in a subnet mask, if you can see the number of network bits or the number of 1s, if you count the number of 1s, then it will give me the number of network bits. So 2 to the power that number will give me how many networks I can form with that particular IP address. The second one, number of hosts, that is equal to 2 to the power number of host bits minus 2. Now this minus 2 is to reduce two addresses which cannot be assigned to any device. We call it the network ID and the broadcast ID. So this network ID and broadcast ID we cannot assign to any device. So we will reduce that from the number of hosts. Number of hosts is actually the number of computers or the number of devices that you can connect to a network. So to calculate that, we are going to say 2 to the power number of host bits, that is the zeros, number of zeros in the subnet mask, minus 2. The third one would give me the formula to find the network ID. So the network ID is found by sending the IP address and the subnet mask through an AND gate. So we know about logic gates, how the AND gate is operated. When I send an IP address through an AND gate with the subnet mask, I will get the network ID. And the last one is the broadcast ID, when all the host bits in the network ID becomes 1. That is, all the zeros in the subnet mask becomes 1, that is the host part. When the host part in the network ID becomes 1, it is our broadcast ID. What you have to remember is the network ID and broadcast ID are the first and the last ID of a given network. So the network ID will be the first address, broadcast ID will be the last address in a given network. Now let's see how we can calculate the network ID of a given IP address. If I give an IP address like 192.168.20 and 1, this is my IP address, and I'm going to give a subnet mask which will say 255.255.255.0. Now this 255 is formed by all 1s in this octet, 1s in this octet, 1s. So the maximum decimal number that can be formed in an IP address is 255. So the subnet mask is this, IP address is this. Now using these two, I am going to find my network ID. We know, according to the formula that we saw earlier, if I send the IP address through an AND gate with the subnet mask, I will get my network ID. So sending these two through an AND gate in the decimal notation will not be very easy. So I'm going to convert these two into binary notation. So this will represent 192.168.20 and 1 here, and this is my subnet mask 255.255.255 and 0. Now we know when you are sending this through an AND gate, both these values should be 1 in order to get a 1 here. So 1 into 0 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 into 0, 1 into 1, 0 is 0. Here 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1, 1, 1 into 1, 1. So if I send this through an AND gate, both these should be 1. So I will be getting 1s here wherever I get both the values 1 or both the inputs as 1 in this. So my answer to this should look like this. I have 0, 0, 0, 0 here, and this is exactly the same as this. This 2 the same as this 2 same as this. So this should be actually 192.168.20 and 0. That will be my network ID. Now to find the broadcast ID, that is, we know the broadcast ID is going to be the ID when all the host bits of the network ID is 1. We know this part is the host part of the network ID. So this part is going to be my host part. So in the network ID, I am writing the network ID here first. The network ID, I have written it down here. If all the host part here, all these 8 bits are converted to 1, then this is going to be my broadcast ID. So network ID will be this and the broadcast ID will be this. So if I convert them back to the decimal notation, this will be my network ID 192.168.20 and 0, and this will be my broadcast ID, that is 192.168.20, and if all the ones are available, it should be give me 255. So whatever the addresses that come between these two, that is 192.168.21, 192.168.22, 192.168.23 until 255, we have a maximum of 256 addresses in this network. Like I told you earlier, this network ID and the broadcast ID cannot be assigned to any device. So I cannot say that I have 256 devices connected to this network. That means if I take off the network ID and the broadcast ID from this, I will be getting 254. That is the amount of hosts that I can use in this particular network. So in this network, the network ID is 192.168.20.0, the starting address, 192.168.20.255, the ending address, and between these two, whatever the address can be used in this network. So a maximum of 254 devices I can have in this network. It is something like, if you see in that map again, if you have 254 houses in a particular lane, then a network can be formed in that street or the lane with 254 devices connected in each of the house. So this will wind up the first session of the video for your lesson. Do revise or watch this video again and again until you get the concept of how to find the network IDs, what an IP address is, why we need IP addresses, and then we can move on to the next section, that is classes of different IP addresses. Until then, this is Sanjay sir signing off. Take care and God bless you.